Should I just start? Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't sure. All right, all right. Shalom, family. Brother Tamer here, and another workshop regarding some survival tips and tricks. um, I'll be talking about fire making in this workshop, and I'm sure every one of you guys have started a fire at one point. Has anyone started a fire without a lighter or without fuel? Yeah? The stove. That's a good one. So, this is true. This is true. So there are many ways of starting a fire. But I just want to start off with why you need a fire. Most of you guys probably start a fire just to cook with for food and warmth and all that stuff. So it's one of the essentials. Like as soon as you are in the wilderness and you're trying to find a spot to create a shelter, the places that you should create a shelter should have wood and water in that area. And that's like one of the first things you should get going is like you have to make sure that you have areas to start a fire. Like you need enough supplies. Fire is good for not only just cooking food and warmth, but it helps. The smoke helps with the bugs, the mosquitoes, helps with wild animals, and actually, yeah, I guess I got a good story. So when I was camping out in the mountains of BC, I misjudged how long it would take me to climb to the top of the mountain there, and I found myself hiking at like midnight. You know, I was trying to get. It was so hilly that I couldn't lay a mat to sleep. I had to go to the peak. So I got there at 8 in the morning, and so it was a hike, and it was, you know, I was like, it was midnight, and I was hearing some things in the, you know, something in the bush, because it was just like a small trail, kind of like sideways, and then there'll be some bush. So it's like a winding trail that goes all the way up the mountain, and the trail's kind of divided with like trees and bushes. And yeah, eventually, you know, you see that I had my flashlight and I could see glowing eyes. And, you know, I'd hear it there, then I'd hear it there, and then behind me. And eventually I finally got it, and it was a mountain lion. It was stalking me. BC. Yeah. Sorry?
Putinese?
Kootenais?
The mountain range.
No, no, no. No, no, it wasn't there. It was like north of Vancouver, maybe 4 hours north of Vancouver. Yeah. And you know, so I had my hiking poles, and the first thing you should do is do something, a sound that's unnatural in nature. So it's like hitting two metal objects, making that clinging sound is unnatural in nature. So it's supposed to freak these animals out. So, you know, I'm hitting my poles for like a good half hour. You know, I'll be hiking and then just like hitting it, and if I kind of hear it there, and you know, taking my knife and hitting the knives together, or pots and pans, that kind of stuff. But it would not stop. It just kept going for like a good hour and a half. It was stalking me and getting closer, and then starting to gain more confidence. So I just put my backpack down and I just started a big fire in the middle of the trail. It was like 1, 2 in the morning by that time, and it was gone. It was gone with the fire. Something about a fire that freaks the animals out, the smoke, I don't know what.
Natural, right?
No, I guess that's true. And that's, you know, who knows what could have happened. But yeah, I did have bear mace with me just in case a grizzly came by. But mountain lions, yeah, they sneak up on you. You know, they don't come charging at you like a bear. So that's one example of how fires can save you. Is you don't have to just have a fire going in your campsite. That, having a fire going in your campsite also deters animals from coming into your campsite. So you can have a fire burning all night long and it would prevent them from coming at night till the sun comes up, then you're good.
Snakes also.
Sorry?
Snakes also.
I don't know about snakes. Snakes don't really attack much. They slide away unless it's, yeah, unless you're in the Amazon jungle, then you've got those anacondas and stuff that you have to worry about. Which I have camped out in the Amazon as well, but I haven't had anything stalk me like that. Anyways,
Did you stop camp climbing that?
oh no, I had to keep going. Like, so once it was gone, I just kept going. And by the time I got to the top, it was like 6 in the morning. The sun was coming up, and I had this beautiful view of the sunrise.
So you left the fire unattended? What did you do?
Oh no, I put it out. I was there for half an hour.
And how fast did you create the fire for it to be from start to big?
Ooh, probably like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because you're panicking, so you had to move fast.
Yeah. I mean, I was already around a lot of wood, so it wasn't hard to grab the wood and stuff, So, and I didn't bother processing it too much. You can use 2 trees with the log and you can snap them so you don't have to saw. And then I was just burning big logs. But yeah, you got to start small and then work it up. And by the time it was, yeah, so it took some time, but probably the work and, keep looking behind me and making sure it's not like while I'm getting the wood. It was a little nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie. But I definitely started the fire with a lighter. There's a time and place. I'm not against lighters, 100%. I've got big lighters, the best lighters you should have. What I do with lighters, yeah, I might be all over the place. Apologies. There's so much that I'd like to, so I'll be bouncing around. But so for lighters, which is the number one way of starting a fire, I tend to wrap my lighters in duct tape, or this is kind of like, you can buy a roll like this, which is wax covered twine, and this catches a spark very easily, or a flame, and it stays lit for a while. And you can, so the reason why I use these is you don't want to run out of the gas. You want to preserve the gas as much as possible. So when I do light the lighter, I'll try not to keep it lit for more than 2 to 3 seconds, just enough to get this going. Or this is one of the best fire starters too, duct tape. Not only is it a good fire starter, but you can patch your gear up. You can, I get the orange one, so if I'm going really deep into the bush and there's no trail, I'll tend to put some markers so then I can see my path coming back, not to get lost. And yeah, so I'll be showing you, different ways of starting fire, like with duct tape, with all this different stuff that I have here. A lot of fire starters that are out there as well. You can get like compressed wood with wax. They come in little squares like that, and that lasts 5 minutes, 1 cube. So that can actually, you can start a nice fire with one of these. And then nature also has, yeah, so this is another one that I love using as well in the rain. This is like really good. It comes in like little small white cubes. And these catch a spark so easily. This is like my last resort if I can't get a fire going, because even I have trouble sometimes, and that's why it's all an experience. It's depending if the wood's rotted and wet wood and all these different circumstances, too windy, rainy, like it can be a difficult challenge sometimes. And then pine sap. I'm sure you guys heard of pine. So there's certain trees that have like natural oils that are super flammable. So birch bark is one that's really good. Do you guys know what a birch bark tree looks like? It's like white and you can see it peeling. It doesn't really have bark on it. It's almost like paper. So anytime I'm hiking and I'll see birch bark, I'll rip some of that and put in my pocket, put in my backpack. That stuff is the best. You can soak it in water and it'll still hold a flame. It's got like the oil is kind of doesn't it prevents the water from soaking into the paper because it's saturated. So you can scrape it, create some kind of powder, and it'll take a spark no problem, and it'll last and it'll burn even in the rain. Or sap. So when pine trees are wounded, they'll ooze out this like gluey, sticky sap thing, and that's just you can pass this around, but I found this is like all been collecting sap. That's just from like one tree that I found. Try not to touch it. You'll need like rubbing alcohol to remove it. But you can smell it. You can smell the oils in it. So that can hold a flame for a long time. Especially those two pieces would probably burn for like an hour or more.
Just the wax.
Just the sap. So you can I'll just grab just a little bit and I'll dab it on the wood and I'll light that, and that's pretty much almost better than wax itself. It'll hold a flame for a long time. And to get a fire started with the main thing is you want the initial flame to last more than 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, and then you'd be able to kind of build on that. So if you don't have a flame, like if you start a flame and it goes out in 2 seconds, it's kind of useless. You won't be able to get a fire going, especially with a spark and all that stuff. But so there are so many different fire kind of configurations that you can make. The basic one that we use here is usually like the teepee fire. That's great for like warmth and stuff, but the only downside is you have to keep feeding it. It dies like you have to have a lot of wood. There are different structures. I'll try to show some examples, but pretty much you need. I'm sorry.
You get the paper side.
So I just cut it off with a knife. So pieces of sap will be like gooing out of the tree, and you just cut it off or take a stick. If I don't want to ruin my knife, I'll take a stick and just scrape it off onto like a leaf or a piece of bark or something, and then I can just use that.
How long can it last?
The flame, the sap?
Like if you collect it, does it?
Oh no, oh, it does not expire.
Oh, you just
It's last. I've used sap that I've collected like a year ago, kind of thing, and it still works as long as you. I don't know. Don't it? Yeah. Even, I don't know if this. I've never tried soaking it in water. I've done that with birch bark, but that I've never. I'm assuming yeah, it should work even when wet because of the oils. And then so yeah, there's so many different types of things. So fire pretty much needs three things. It needs like fuel, oxygen, and yeah, wood pretty much. Like air, yeah, oxygen. So without those, like, so when you see a fire just smoking a lot, it means that it needs more wood or it's struggling. So you need to add more wood to it, but smaller pieces. So when you start building a fire without any gasoline or all this stuff, you have to build it from small to big. And preparation is like the number one thing for a fire. You have to spend more time prepping than starting a fire. Starting a fire is easy. It's prepping for the fire. You have to make sure that you have all the pieces of wood gathered because you don't want to start that flame that lasts 5 seconds and then you're like, oh, breaking wood and adding it, and then that flame's done. And then you have to start all over again and try to find kindling and all this stuff. So so for processing wood, you can use saws, axes, knives like choppers, machetes, all that kind of stuff. So cutting tools, pretty much. So for survival, there are five main crucial items. It's called like the 5 C's. So you need combustion tools, which is fire starters. You need cutting tools. You need cordage, which is rope or any kind of twine or anything to build shelters. You need a container to carry water from one area source to another. And you need cover, which is a tarp, a tent. And those are your 5 essentials. That should also be everything in these 5 things should be in your bug out bag. You should have, those 5 C's they say. So like fire starting. Anyway, yeah. A good book that's out there that you guys I would advise getting is a Bushcraft 101. It's like very, yeah, it's very good. It's got a lot of things that can be useful. Knots and shelter building and fire starting and everything. So it's a good book to kind of go through to get an idea of what's necessary or needed out in the wilderness. I can keep it here. You guys can take a picture or write down the name. So for cutting tools, I don't necessarily use an axe. You can use a hatchet. They're not too bad. But I tend to just take a knife and a saw because with the saw I can chop down a whole big tree, and then with the knife I can process it, use it like an axe. But you definitely need like strong knives. So, saws come in different sizes. I've got different sizes, depends on how big of a tree I want to chop down. And then there are different kinds, like these very portable. So they all fit in like a backpack and you can chop, and they don't weigh that much. Like an axe weighs as much as like 2 saws and a knife, So really depends. If you're not going really deep into the woods, I'd take an axe kind of thing. But if you're going for like an 80K hike or 50K, anything like that, you need like every gram counts. Oh, sorry.
The specific name of that saw?
So this is the Borealis. It's the 21 Borealis. So this is Agawa. It's made by a Canadian company, actually. They come in different sizes. They actually have a smaller one. This is the medium, and they have a bigger one. This is a 21-inch, I believe. Then they have a 25 and a 12. Agawa, Agawa. And it's the Borealis, the Boreal. Yeah, and as far as choppers, like, you have big knives. The bigger the knife, the thicker the wood you can chop. I've chopped processed wood with just a small knife like this. But when it's really cold out, you want a lot of wood. And with the small saw, that's a lot of work. So when you're out surviving, calories count because you don't have an unlimited amount of food with you. So you really have to preserve your energy. So with these bigger items, you don't have to chop as much and do all that stuff. So what else? Yeah.
Does that one fold too? It must fold, right?
This one? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, just like that.
So, knife. What size of knife is best to work?
Personal preference, really. Personal preference. Like, do you just cook food, like want to cook food with the fire, like, or do you want it to
What
last
you're
all
gonna do
night?
like grass here with the chop to make a path with?
Tho- yeah, yeah, I mean, those are, yeah, yeah. It depends. If you're going really deep into the bush, you could have a machete, I guess. You know, the machetes are pretty good for like clearing the path. I mean, this is kind of like a mini machete, a chopping tool. This is not a regular knife. It's a chopper. This is like a regular knife kind of thing. But you want to make sure when you do pick a tool like a knife or anything, you want to make sure that it's called a full tang. So the steel goes all the way to the end. So this plastic handle is surrounding the actual blade. There are knives that, you know, the steel just kind of is like a tab inserted into the handle. Those will just break on you. They'll just snap. They're not good to be using, especially when you can't replace it if you're out in the wilderness. This is your tool for, you know, if this breaks, you really have to adapt in different ways. You know, so, and I would recommend getting carbon steel for a blade. Carbon steel also, you're able to get a spark out of these. So I use, you know, I'll have a lighter with me just in case, but I'll tend to use like these things here, which I'm sure you all have seen. It's like a ferrocerium rod, they call them. And this thing just, you know, you can get like nice sparks with it. They come in like different, you can get different sizes, big, small. These sparks can go up to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is really, really hot. It can catch, it can start a, yeah. So they do tend to wear out because the sparks are you scraping the metal off. So it's the, you need a 90-degree spine on a knife or anything with a 90-degree spine can create a spark because you're just shaving that metal off. And that's what creates the spark. You can use, you know, saws, anything with a 90-degree. So that's really good. But clearly you can't, you know, how can you start a fire with like just a spark, right? Like that's where all these things come in handy. Like if if you're if it's raining and you can't find any wet wood, dry wood, you pretty much have to slice into the wood. So the inside of a log is dry. It's the outside that's wet. And so yeah, I'll start showing you some different configurations. Oh yeah, here's another one also. You can get little fire starting kits like this where it comes, same thing. The theme with fire is wax and twine. This thing, you know, you spread it out, get some nice fine hairs, and this will catch a spark, and then you can, you know, hold it or light anything, and then just put it out. I guess I could show you that, guys, that later. So that's kind of an introductory to like what's possible. So as far as chopping wood and processing wood for your fire, another thing I would always recommend having gloves in your bug out bag because you don't want to scrape yourself, cut yourself, lots of you know splinters, all that stuff, and then things can get infected, and you're in the middle of nowhere, and it could cause issues. So just you know, I have leather gloves for actually handling fire too. Like you can grab logs that are readjust your fire pit for efficiency. So gloves are always good to have. So here's a little example of if I'm cutting a big tree, it's hard to like lift it up and put it on my knee and like, try chopping it. So you can just make makeshift little donkeys kind of thing where imagine this is a tree. You can grab a branch and you can start, processing wood that way. And it makes it way easier instead of just holding it up. There are different techniques where you put it between your knee and you can chop. So those are all things that I can talk about in more depth later, but this is just an introductory, I guess. So once you get the wood, let's say it's just completely saturated in water, you want to split it. And this technique's called batoning. So you always want a hard surface. I guess I can do it here, like a rock or, and let me grab, this should be good. And yeah, you just chop it up. You want to make sure when you chop it up that you don't hit these things. Stomp saw. And so if you can't find any small pieces of wood, you just slice this up into many, many pieces. And this is what's creating kindling, If even the small branches are all wet, see, like all this is like dry, and then you can start fires this way. So nature's kindling. Another thing is, I just grabbed this dry grass is really good. So you want something that's like hair thin so that it can catch a spark. So if you get grass, you can shave bark with the back of your knife. You can shave if there's bark. You can shave bark and create these like dust powder that will get a spark. So like with grass, you have to break it up. You can create like a little bird's nest like that, and you can put a piece of coal in there and just blow, and then that'll start a fire. So same thing like this. I was trying to light this and it wasn't going, but it was kind of catching some ambers, and that amber, within a small amber, you can actually start a fire. You blow on it, yeah, you feed it that oxygen. And then there's so many household items too that you can put in your bug out bag, like, dryer lint. When you clean your dryer out, that stuff it'll catch a spark, and it's very light, so you can pack a lot down to a small container and just use that. That works really well.
What about the moss come off the tree?
Moss, no good.
Too down, right?
Yeah, moss is not a good, you want something like dry, that's kind of dead. Moss is still, it's got water in it. Moss is good to sit on, make a bed out of it, all that kind of stuff. It's like spongy, right? Moss can also filter water, so it has its place, but not in fire making. So much to share. I'm trying to structure it.
Tips. It's good to
Yeah. For cooking food, I guess I have a wood burning stove because when I go out for 14 days, I don't want to like carry like a lot of fuel on me, like propane tanks and all that stuff. And sometimes they run out. Then what do you do? So they're like wood burning stoves that are not too heavy. Like this one's decent. It builds up and you can anyways, I'll set that up later, but you can put your pot and pans on top. Or if I'm hiking for a while, and you can get small ones like this, where I don't want to carry too much. And when you're out in nature and you're hiking a long time, for long periods, I tend to bring dehydrated food with me. So, I'm not carrying a cooler with me up that mountain for 10 hours, or ice or any of that. Food spoils. So I dehydrate all my food, and all I need to do is just boil water. So to boil 1 liter of water takes around 4 minutes. So you kind of need just a 4 or 5 minute flame. This is perfect for that. That'll boil a nice pot of water. And unlimited supply of fuel. You just break sticks, you put it in there, you feed it. It's great. So those are for food making. But what else? So I guess might as well start showing you different configurations. Oh yeah, another thing. I've also used tent pegs. You can put tent pegs in the ground and then put your pot on top and put wood underneath. So you can makeshift a stove with just tent pegs instead of carrying these things. That would work as well. I've done that many times. There's so many creative ways, really. Like, that's why it's so important, family, that you guys go out into the wilderness, or at least maybe here, try starting a fire or something without any fuel. Practice. That's what we should be doing. It's crucial. Like, we should all be practicing how to do all these essential things. I was trying to teach shelter and knots the other day. That's also essential. But fire is necessary also. Well, they both are necessary, all of these things. So, yeah, when you're processing the wet wood, you break it up, you chop it up into all these different pieces, but this still won't take a spark. It's too thick even and small. So then there's a technique called feather sticking, where you create shavings. You can, you just kind of cut the edge. So you eventually create different things like this. Little curls. And then that should take a spark. I'll be doing that. Yeah, I should probably just do that now. I'll show you. Has anyone ever used a ferrocerium rod? Here? We got one.
I got
You have used one? And have you successfully started a fire with it?
not quite.
Okay. Cool. Anyone else? Deacon? No? Okay. So I guess seeing how we're a very small group, we can pass these around, and I can, you guys can kind of get an idea, because it does look simple, but it takes technique to really get a spark going. One main thing with ferrocerium rod, like you see the spark that I'm doing now? it's great, but it won't start a fire. You want to make sure that the sparks can hit the ground, you know, so you want to make sure, see, even that's not kind of like how it's touching on the ground. So that's good. But, you know, these, yeah, that's much better. Anyways, so that's what can get a fire going. So when you do, if you do have one and it's still in the wrapper, take it out. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So there are different kinds of ferrocerium rods. I've gone through so many, and there are some good quality and bad quality ones. And some, no matter how hard you try, they won't spark. You know, so try, yeah, you might have, you know, and you want to make sure it has those sparks. So I can recommend, you know, this is the best one I found. It's from Germany. So they make some really good ones.
What's that brand called?
Uberleben. I don't know. Uberleben. Uberleben. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I noticed. I remember actually. Yeah. So, and as I said, they come in different sizes. This is in a circular pattern. This is like a hexagon. So you actually have more surface area, bigger sparks. I guess I might as well show. Yeah. So, like for example, this lint that I have from the dryer is just dryer lint. You kind of just break it up. Yeah, you can put it in a jar, and it should.
Maybe a Ziploc bag, as you said about the grams. Every gram counts.
Yeah. There are plastic containers, see? It already caught. So with that, you can start a fire. But what's also good is cotton balls dipped in Vaseline, but you don't want to saturate it with Vaseline because the Vaseline won't catch the sparks. It's the cotton that catches the sparks. So, you know, you just break it up, and that should also take a spark. And that lasts, you know, that should be enough to get this going. You know what I mean? Look at that. I can't even put it out. That's how good it is. That's what you want. All right. Look, it's still light. See how good that was? No matter if it's windy, that stuff's great for like starting a fire in the rain because Vaseline. And then, you know, you've got another thing is I said duct tape burns. But unfortunately, you do need a lighter for duct tape. You can't light duct tape with a spark. There we go. So once that's lit, it should keep going. So, yeah. See how like it lasts a while? As long as you get a 5 to 10 seconds of flame. And what I would do is I would take the duct tape, roll it, and I'd have 3 of them and kind of make like a plus sign or something and light them from all angles, and then it burns all the way to the center. So that gives enough time to burn, yeah. To get the kindling going. So I don't know, I might be able to start this. So even dry grass, but with this stuff, you know, you want to do this so you break it up and create even finer and finer hairs because that's what tends to catch the spark. Oh, it's really windy too. Woo! So yeah, that caught. Yeah, that caught. See? So then you get that, and then you can put that. Then you have to add wood. So with the wood, you want to start like the thickness of a lead in a pencil. So really thin, and then work to like your, pinky finger, like the size of a pencil, and then your thumb, and then your wrist. So it's a progression. You don't want to just feed the fire thick wood because then it'll struggle and it'll just go out. So it's crucial, So yeah, I mean that's kind of everyone should know this, right? I don't know. So yeah, when you're finding wood, never gather wood that's found on the floor because it's always damp. And you want to make sure for this stuff, like when it snaps, you don't want the bark sticking. That means it's not good. So you want that snap. And if it's
When the park ranger will come find you, they hear you snapping.
oh
Come find you.
no, Algonquin, you're allowed to burn the wood.
They get very, like.
Well, if there's a fire ban, maybe. But like I go like 4 or 5 hours into, yeah, I go back country. I'm not like camping.
Park campaigners, they'll come to you.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's different. Yeah, car camping, you're not allowed to go into the woods. Yeah. Back country,
Yeah.
it's a free for all, as you go in there and whatever you find, you can burn. So different techniques, like if it's really windy like now, how do you build a fire in the wind kind of thing. One technique is I would maybe block the wind with a tarp. But if I don't have a tarp, you can build platforms. So you can get big, thick pieces of wood. You can kind of build something like that, which is kind of like a wall. And then, you put your kindling or whatever you want to take the flame underneath there. And like that, I should probably show it this way. So it's called a lean-to. So you want to lean things on top of the wall or the platform that you're making. Another thing is if it's raining a lot and the ground's completely saturated, you can create a platform fire. So when you chop the wood and you split the wood, you can actually just create a bed. And then on top of that, you build the fire. And not only it's good because it creates a nice coal bed to cook on as well. So there are different techniques. If you're doing a teepee fire, like they're good for warmth, but you got to keep feeding it wood. There are certain fires like log cabin fires where you build them like structurally, kind of. You build it up. And there's a pyramid one, log cabin, depends, some go all the way up. And you start the fire on top and then it just burns all the way down so you don't have to like keep putting fire, like wood into the fire. So that's good for long, like if I'm going to bed and I don't want to or going to bed, I don't have a bed, going to sleep, I should say, out there. I would do something like that, where it would just almost self-sustaining fire. Actually, a self-sustaining fire is you can build things where you can stack logs. So you can put 2 sticks and stack logs all the way up, and then the bottom log will just go into the fire. and then work its way down, work its way down. That's good in the winter time. So that's like a self-feeding fire. You don't have to get up and get out of your sleeping bag and freeze again, because once you're in there, you're nice and warm. Self-feeding fire. Then you have the lean-to, you have the teepee.
Are those techniques in the book?
No, no, there might be,
No, you don't have to.
but yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
They'll have maybe like the teepee fire and the log cabin, but what else? Yeah, like this stuff too is the same thing. This cube, you know, you can break it off and it's like a powder. You sprinkle that over whatever you want to catch a flame. You don't really need that much. So I would build this and then put some of that if it's really wet, or if I'm lazy. There's times, but and that catches a spark right away. And it lasts quite like, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I should have a fire going with just a sprinkle of it. So this cube can last a long, long time. You don't just throw this into the fire and start it. But with this, you do. You got to use this whole thing. That's why I love these things. And, you know, you guys can eventually see the weight difference. Like this is kind of heavier than this. This is really light. So depends if I'm traveling far, if I'm on the canoe.
Can you pass those to around?
Sure. So these, I mean, you can find them in the dollar store. That's a little more pricier, but you get to it's value. It's very valuable. It's worth the price.
Question. I seen a technique, I forgot the name of it, where the guy actually took the log itself and had it burn in from the center out.
So that's a Swedish log fire. That's tough to do. You kind of need a chainsaw, or what you could do. No,
4 logs together and then you tie them together.
yeah. So I mean, you could do it with that, like slice it, and then that's like a Swedish stove. It's you cook on it. So yeah, you would slice it in 4s, and then take 1/2 inch off the corners and then put it together. You would need rope for that, and then just feed that hole with fire, and you have to make another hole for air to go through. It's like a chimney.
Oh, okay.
So it is a process, but that's a good one too. Yeah.
You also see the guys took the big fires when they're empty and they use it for starting fires.
Yes. So worst comes to worst, if you break it and you lose the gas, and you're out of flames, you can use the spark the same way like that. This spark could start, but it's small sparks. You gotta really have good kindling, you know.
Tamer.
Yes. Oh, they're great. Yeah, they're good. They're waterproof. Yeah. But I mean, they run out. That's the only problem. It's good and efficient. Canoeing, camping for a weekend or something. It's good to have, yeah. But as far as survival, I wouldn't rely on matches. You could have it in your bug out bag, but they run out. So in a survival situation, you want to make sure that you have things that are efficient, that last a long time, because you don't know how long you're going to be lost out there for.
So you have nature already, so you need equipment that it's not like it's going to run out.
Right, exactly. There are lots of ways of, like this will last a long time and it weighs nothing. I'll pass this around as well. And this can also So
Tamer, like
this,
what you have, Tamer, what you have on the table, minus the wood, because you can get that in nature. Is that kind of what you would carry with you on your 14-day trip, kind of thing?
no,
Less?
this
You
is.
carry less?
Oh yeah, I'll just grab one of these. I wouldn't carry this big one. This is too heavy.
Yeah.
So I'll just carry this small guy, and I wouldn't carry.
Carry.
I'll just grab maybe one saw. Depends on what. See, the thing is with what I ran into trouble. So this saw builds out like this, and it's very limited with the like I can only the diameter. So like I'd be slicing a tree and then it stops because the tree is too thick. So like there's a time and place. Like if I'm wanting a lot of wood and big trees and I don't want to keep chopping, that's where the saw comes in handy. The saw you can just chop any diameter tree. But this chops faster than the saw. So it's kind of like, how much energy do you want to spend?
Could you use dry leaves?
Dry leaves are okay, but they're always found on the ground. You should avoid using things on the ground. What I've used dry leaves for is if there's a lot of mosquitoes, throw a lot of dry leaves on and it just creates a lot of smoke, no flame. So dry leaves tend to smoke things out. So you can't start a fire with just dry leaves, no.
Bulrush.
Bulrush?
Yeah,
Bulrush.
kind of the brown thing with a little time to the top.
Brown. That it's like a stem, and you see marshy areas.
That's right.
Oh, yes. I've used those before. That's called bulrush? Okay, I was not sure in English.
It's like up like this, and it's like
Oh,
inside.
yeah, I mean, right, exactly. Like that, the plants that you can blow on, that stuff takes a good spark, but very quick.
Yeah.
So you really have to have kindling. Yeah, it just like, and it's gone. So you really have to have a whole bunch. But that's this what you said before, bulrush. Yeah.
You call it no name? Or if it has another name.
I forget actually. I forget. No, I can't believe.
Put the pine cones, the dried pine cones.
Yeah, dry pine cones work quite a bit. Work quite well. So like these shavings will catch a spark as well, So you don't really need to find, like if you can't find dry brush, you can create your own kindling.
As you're walking, you're looking. What can I do instead?
Yeah, I mean,
Use, as you're walking.
birch bark, really. Birch bark or, yeah, right here there isn't any. You're right. So you always look up, look for twigs. The bottom of the trees usually have dead branches sticking out, so you can grab that. You can always process it, cut it. It's dry in the inside. But like if you're making a fire in the rain, you need double the amount of wood and double the amount of kindling. So like, if you think it's enough, gather more. Yeah, it's a process to have a fire in the rain.
What happens in the winter when there's no sticks, when there's no dry sticks on the trees? What do you do then?
I have to chop the big logs, and this is dry in the inside. So then I chop it again and again and again until I get small little pieces like this. And then this is technically a twig that's super dry because it's inside this that was protected by the outside. So if you can't find any twigs or anything, it takes work. Yeah, it takes work. You got to cut a tree, but you have to make sure the tree's dead. So dead standing trees. And you can notice a tree's dead is when the bark is peeling off the tree. That's when you know. So like when you're in the woods and there's so many trees, you can get overwhelmed. But just look out for like a tree with the bark kind of peeling off, and that's a tree you should go to. Yeah, what else? let's see here. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Like the whole process for wood is like you have to find dry wood. If not, you have to create the dry wood by chopping, and then you create a platform. So the wet part of the wood you put on the ground that's wet, and the dry part's exposed, and then you can build on that, and that will not go out. The water won't be able to put it out. And then yeah, a lot of kindling like this. So like I would have in a rain, I would have this like piled up this much. Like I wouldn't just have this pile and then like make my fire. I would have a lot of it, and then just fire loves chaos. So like making a pretty TP, and it's kind of for show. It's useless because it's gonna burn anyway. So you can just feed the fire in certain different ways, but it likes chaos, especially when it's starting. You want everything kind of messy so the flames can go in and dry things out. That's why you want it that big, because the inside will be dry, and it's slowly like the smoke is kind of heat, so it'll dry the outside. So you can throw wet twigs on top of something that's already going, and it'll burn, but it'll be very smoky at first. So, I mean, that's kind of an introductory to fire making. I mean, does anyone have any questions? Like,
I guess the question that I have, and I know we were talking about it yesterday, because for instance, some people have the magnesium bars, and I guess
right,
what's the difference, or what
right.
you prefer, or what lasts longer?
So there's like flint and steel, where you get a flint rock with steel, and you hit that, and that creates a spark. That's very difficult to do because the sparks aren't as hot as a ferrocerium rod, and you have to create an amber. So for the flint and steel, they recommend to have char cloth. So char cloth, what that is you take, do I have any here? No. So to create char cloth, you need like a container like this. What you do is you poke a hole in it, preferably on the side, and it's kind of like how you create coal. But so you need 100% cotton material, and you fold that up, you put it inside a canister, like a mint can, anything. You close that up and you throw it into a fire, and then it burns. It doesn't burn. It's hard to describe. So it burns it without having a flame. So it creates charcoal. It turns the cotton into charcoal kind of thing. So that will take a spark, and it'll hold an amber. It won't flame. It won't create a flame, but it'll create an amber that lasts a long time. And so from the flint and steel, a lot of guys use the amber, the char cloth, to create the amber. Then you take that piece of cloth that's glowing, and you put it inside like a bird's nest. You have this, you put inside, and then you blow, and that's how you create the fire, with char cloth and flint and steel. But with this, it has way more sparks. Flint and steel, you have it's not that many sparks that you can get.
The chocolate, can we also take actual coals and crush it up fine?
No, it has to be made out of cotton. Yeah. I mean, you can make charcoal the same thing. So if I put little small twigs, I break them and I put them in the container and I close it and throw it on fire, it turns into charcoal, and I can use that to draw or whatever. So you can create markings and write, like, you draw arrows if you're lost, so you can create like some,
I got you.
you can signal for help, right, with charcoal. But I've also started a fire with just a magnifying glass. So did oh, did you have your hand up? Oh, sorry about that.
Also, I apologize for not helping you.
Oh,
Got caught up.
all good, bro. Appreciate it. You've been one thing everyone needs to acknowledge is the warmth we've had. Thanks to Tyrone, brother Tyrone here, working very hard. So we appreciate that. Sorry, Lauren.
I wanted to know the difference between the gloves that you had there and their uses.
Okay, so these are like cow leather, like leather gloves. And this is pretty much, I can hold coal in it for at least 5 to 10 seconds before I start feeling the heat. So if I need to rearrange the fire pit, I put these on. But they're not very good for tying knots and stuff like that. They're kind of bulky. So I can process wood with this. These gloves, you don't want to cut yourself. A lot of wood will have a little spikes like this. So when you bundle them up and you grab it, it could pierce you. It's happened to me. So you want something to not hurt yourself, because if you're out, you don't want any infections or all that kind of stuff. So, and then these are basic, just rubber gloves for, not rubber, but basic gloves for, I have more dexterity with these. I can do knots with these gloves easier than those. I get orange ones because it's easier to see at night. You want bright colors so that you don't lose your items. That's the only reason I have these. But I'll never, yeah, they're always have a pair of gloves in your bug out bag. 100%. These are valuable. You need these tools. These are the most important tools when you're out surviving, and you want to take care of them very well. So yeah, that's why I have those gloves. It's nothing specific. Just make sure that it's leather if you're wanting to handle fire. They do have actual fire gloves, but those are so thick and bulky. These fit nicely in my backpack compared to like big mitts that you can actually hold a flame for a long time, but they're heavy and impractical. So these are thin. You can adjust it for the amount of time you need, 5-10 seconds. So that's what those gloves are for.
Question.
Yes.
They teach the scouts to put something like a pole or something and rub it like this.
So different ways. Yes. So that's that burns a lot of calories, but that's a friction fire, pretty much. So you can like create a bow drill. So you, pretty much you create a little bow. You can use your shoelace to create a bow. You have to get a piece of wood and then break it down and, go like that. But it's a process. You have to carve this into a point, and then you have to carve notches. Like, that's a whole lesson on its own. It's hard to get into, but yes, you can.
The different types of wood.
Di-
Right?
Different types. So you don't want a softwood and a hardwood and all this different stuff. So there's a lot to that. It takes.
That lion would have eaten you if you did that.
Yeah. 1 second. Just like. But yeah.
I actually tried it. I remember, obviously when you're soaking up all these, you want to survive, right?
Right.
So I went out in the creek, got 2 pieces of wood, started carving it, making the flat rock, and making the bow, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
I'm there for hours.
Yeah.
The most I got the wood to be is just a little bit of a
Black, yeah, burn mark, yeah. Yeah. So with that, you don't create a flame. So with that wood, you're friction till you get an amber and it starts glowing and you're like, yes, okay. Then you grab that. So you cut a notch in the platform and the bottom, and that's where you do the friction. And then the coal, the amber will fall down. So you put like another piece of wood underneath and it'll fall in there. And then that's what you take very carefully, make sure there's no wind, make a bird's nest, drop it in, blow until it catches flames. So that's like ultimate surviving. You know, I've done it once and that was enough experience for me, you know.
One of the competitions in the show Survivor. They had them do that one time.
Oh, did they? Okay, yeah. And how many people got it?
I think just one person. Got it.
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
No, it looked like hell.
It's yeah, and it's just it's not recommended because like you're working and like that's calories you're burning that you can't replace.
Amber and
Yeah, it's like easy and I don't know, you put it in and it's like this small amber that's glowing. You don't want to make it go out and it's fun, but
So if you were if you were to say, okay, in my bag, I have like a fire, I guess 2 or 3 things that I'm gonna put together, right? Lighter, would it be like your lighter?
lighter.
Rod?
Lighter wrapped in duct tape. Everyone should wrap their duct tape or like waxed twine because when you light your lighter, literally you want to 1, 2, 3 and then you want to flame. You don't want to waste the gas. That's precious. You can't replace the butane that's in this. So that's the whole reason why I have this wrapped around. You know, I've had this lighter for maybe 4 years and it's still going because I just preserve it. I preserve the flame. I've ran out of this a lot. So that's why I have a whole thing that I just replace. But this lighter has been 4 years. This is probably a 5-year-old lighter. It's just been in so I have like an actual wet sack. All my fire stuff's in this thing. That's why it's been sitting in here for a long time.
Is that waterproof?
It is waterproof, yes. So you want to have a waterproof container. And then there are tools that you can get. So let's say the fire's going out, you just threw some more, you've got some coals going, you threw wood on top. You know how you have to fan the fire or blow on it, and which you do always with the barbecue or something like that. There's this beautiful tool right here. This thing is amazing. Ever since I got it, I've never gone camping without it. It looks funny. I've got made fun of by my friends until they saw me using it, and then they all have one now. It's called a pocket bellow. And it's just, like an old school car antenna. And you can get really deep into the amber and blow, and it'll turn your fire into a furnace. It's just feeding oxygen straight into the coals instead of blowing on it or using energy or like wasting calories with your arms. So just blow. And I've started fires the next morning. So I'd have a fire at night, go to sleep, wake up. I'd do this in the fire pit. I see a small amber. I'll bust this out. Boom. I don't need to spark. Just blow the coal and it'll just start going again. This thing is amazing. It weighs nothing.
What is it called again?
Pocket bellow. Pocket bellow. I think I got it, I don't know, it was like 10 years ago. I forget, it was like a camping store, but I've seen them now, they've blown up. When I got it, like it was kind of unknown, but now I saw like you can get a pack of 3 for like $10 on Amazon.
Yeah.
They're not that expensive. I've used like in the past before I found out about the pocket bellow, your water filters, how you have like gravity filters. So I would have a filter bag that I'd put up and then it would come with a plastic tube and a filter. It's kind of like an IV bag, and then you put your water bottle and it just uses the gravity to filter your water. I would just take that tube and use that tube to blow onto the fire. And you know, you can use like different tubes like this, but this I wouldn't use. This is for a filter, but this, it would be longer, but the problem is it would burn. So I would have an actual metal drinking straw that I would plug in the inside of the tube, and then that's what I put into the fire. So it'll be a metal straw. And then they came out with these guys, and I was like, ah, so much better. You know. So yeah, they're different. So many different techniques out there. And yeah, as far as knives goes and tools, all this stuff, you definitely, you know, want to kind of invest in them, like a good quality kind of knives and stuff like that. Because it's the tool that you know, that would be saving your life out there. So you don't want to go into the woods with a kitchen knife, you know.
Tell us again about the 5 trees.
Yeah.
The 5 C's. Okay, so the 5 C's are the crucial. You have, let's see, combustion tools. So it can be like the ferrocerium rod, a lighter, flint steel. I mean, you can put water in a sandwich bag and create a magnifying glass out of that too, if you really have to. So you can start fires with that. So any combustion kind of tool. And then you need your cutting tools. So an axe, a hatchet, a saw, a knife, anything to process food, cut wood, all that stuff. And then you have your coverings. So you want a shelter, a tent, tarp. You can create your own shelter out of, like, you know, the things you can find in there. And then you have your cordage, which is rope, twine, anything that which is invalid. That's how you create a shelter, with the rope. So many uses. And then you have your, what did I say? So I said combustion, cutting tools, cordage, covering, and you want containers. So containers to transport water from one source to another. So, or to eat food. You don't really need a container to eat food. Well, kind of. A pot. Yeah, a pot pan. So what I recommend for pots and pans, I guess I wasn't planning on talking about, but this is what I have when I go out. And it's made out of titanium. That's what I recommend. Don't get those aluminum pots and pans that you find on Amazon with a plastic handle. You don't want a small pot with a plastic handle, because you want to, like, I barely even use these stoves. I haven't used those in like years. Like, I'll just cook over the fire. So I can make, you know, I'll put like sticks and create like a tripod with a string or chain, and I could just have this hanging over the fire. Or I could just throw this on the fire. That's how I boil water. Sometimes I go in without a filter. So I'll just grab water from a lake, throw this on the fire. It's got a little handle there. It's got the lid. And if the water is really like kind of has a lot of stuff in it, even after I boil it, comes with little holes here. So I can like drain and filter out all the sticks and stuff, leaves that are in that water. And for extra precautions, sometimes I'll put a bandana on top of this and then strain that water once I purify it, if it's really dirty. Preferably try to avoid doing that. Like, sometimes I'll be going on a long hike and I would expect to find a water source and you don't. And, you know, you kind of have to make do with whatever puddle you find.
And what's the name of the blade you were saying, the knife blade?
See, this one's from Finland. There are different.
Yeah, so
Oh, the steel, carbon steel. 1080, yeah, 1080 carbon steel or 1085, so that's the hardness. They're easy to sharpen again. That's the beauty about carbon steel. They hold an edge for a long time.
High carbon steel.
High carbon steel, correct. The knives, yes. And yeah, any more questions? Like
I want to know what that is called.
the ferrocerium rod.
The pot.
Oh, the pot.
Not that. No.
Oh, the stove. There's so many brands.
Not necessarily the brand, but like what exactly?
Oh, it's a wood stove. A wood stove. So portable wood stove is what you're looking for. And you can buy some that are $20 up to $100. Some actually have like little like this where it has air pockets and an inside chamber that builds up the flames into like a vortex.
So you put the wood inside of it.
Correct. You put the wood inside you put it inside. There's like a little thing that goes under that collects the wood. You can put what you do is you slice sticks this thick into the length of that, and I would stack them in a row and then put and then start a flame in the center, and that lasts a long time. I mean, you could just fill it up with sticks like this, but then you have to keep feeding it. So that's kind of different. Or you can get this that doesn't create like that vortex in the fire, that heat, the intense heat. With this is just a regular flame. But I mean, look how small this is compared. Like, look at that compared to this. So depends on what you want to carry with you and what you're planning on cooking out there.
Are those beneficial in a time where, like, for instance,
So
it's wet or
this is beneficial in a time if you're hiking and you don't want to start an actual fire to cook food on. You're hiking, we're in the wilderness traveling. You want a small footprint. This doesn't cause a lot of smoke. So if you're hiding and you don't want to get noticed, these things are great because you can control the flame by how much. And when you're burning sticks this big, it's pretty much invisible. There's no smoke because it's effortless. The woods, there's no struggle for the fire to burn pieces like this. Smoke starts if I start adding thicker pieces. So the trick to a smokeless fire is really twigs, but you have to have a lot of them. You gotta feed, but then it won't have a smoke, which is great if you're trying to hide. You don't want this big smoke signal to let everyone know where you are. Unless you're lost and you need to be found, that's when that's when you throw leaves on the fire, you make all the smoke and all that kind of stuff. I actually, in my backpack, I don't have it here, I actually have smoke bombs. Like you light it and it creates red smoke, green smoke, depends on the bomb. So I'll actually have that in my backpack just in case. Depends on how long I go out for, but my biggest one is 85 liters. So
Your head to your what? Hip?
that's from down there and it goes up to here. Yeah. It goes up to there. It's a big one. Yeah.
and how long, like for instance, you would bring that one if you were staying out for how long?
14 days or more. Yeah, yeah. It's just, food can get bulky. Like a lot of dehydrated food and stuff like that is bulky. So it's bulky but light. So it may sound, oh, I've got such a big pack, that's so heavy. But like all my items, you guys can come up here. You guys can come up after I'm done and like, look, see what I have, take pictures, maybe get it for yourself. But like, this is so light. I mean, you guys can pass it around. They do have bigger ones, correct. They do have. So that's like maybe 2 liters, 1.5 liter, which is. So you can barely.
On the wood stove. On the wood stove, you're not.
On the wood stove.
The stove you just showed us.
Yeah.
You're not able to cook on that. You just can warm it.
You can't make barbecue or anything like that. But you can boil water. You can boil water, which is when I'm going out there, all I am cooking or eating is dehydrated. Yeah, and if I catch a fish or something like that, I just cook it on the fire. You put it on a stick or something, and you don't really need a grill. Yeah.
No license, Tamer. Tell them.
Yeah. Oh, that was kind of like iffy. They shouldn't be cutting wood. I hope they thought that we bought this wood. Yeah. I know. So that's pretty much like an introductory. If you guys have any more questions. It's a waterproof, regular waterproof bag that you can buy in different sizes. And I mean, you know what? Like this is it's a bag that's durable for me. I don't really care about the waterproofness because this I can drop in water, take it out, and it'll still spark.
Did you want us to try like?
Yeah, sure. If you guys are interested, you guys can get the feel for sure, and I can kind of give you some.
Just take your equipment, those who have it at home, out of the package. And
I got it.
test it.
If you guys have any questions, any other questions? No? All right. So yeah, we can do a hands-on thing. Tawada for your patience. Family. Thank you.